Alright, sorry about the brief lack of any content there. I really love this music, first of all. I specifically emailed the press contact at Slitherine to ask him, can I blast this music? Can I just blast it? I mean, am I getting copyright restrictions or anything? So I really think it's amazing. Very good music. And he said, no, this is actually owned by the Slitherine. It's not one of those things where they license it out, which is fantastic. So, first things first, let's just appreciate the good quality of music while I let a few people filter in and I get a few announcements about the stream out. Who else needs to receive this message? It's probably good. Yeah, let's just call that good. It's a wonderful Saturday afternoon, at least where I am. Hope everyone else is having a good day. It's perfect climate over here where I'm at, on the west coast of in California, on the west coast of the United States. Boy, and this is gonna be a nice, fun introduction to Field of Glory Empires. As always, the caveat being, this is just a pre-release copy. It's quite in beta still. I would say that this one's actually specifically targeting like an exact gameplay mode. We're supposed to be. This is the challenge build. So basically, Slitherine a while ago they sent out a challenge build of the game, where your challenge is to just conquer all of the peninsula of Italy, and you do this playing as Rome. So that's what we'll see. That the scenario is as Rome in balanced difficulty. Try to conquer as much of Italy as you can in the least amount of turns. All the regular features of the game are in place, and the AI nations will act as normal, but the playing area is reduced to the Italian peninsula and its surroundings, so you will be spared some outside threats. And as I understand it, Greece, maybe like the Gallic territory further down here, the Iberian Peninsula, some of this will be modeled. I think we also are going to have Carthage. What you can't possibly not have Carthage, right? Well, maybe they don't, I don't know. But my expectation is that they'll have a much wider field of play in the actual game itself. Now, if you'll just excuse me for half a second, I forgot to get a drink, so give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Plus, I could just hear that music blasting as I left, and I mean, it's on loop here, obviously, but it's quite nice. Lippincott Boss, joining us a second time. Welcome back, Lippincott. I'm second to first here, yes, he says. Congratulations. And listen to this music, oh my gosh, love it. Za Lasers has joined. Welcome. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll at least take a look at the game. Gotta make sure the sound is loud enough. The Antikythera mechanism was a complex clockwork apparatus that could be used to predict many astronomical positions. 37 or so gears it was made of were so intricate that the design had no equal for more than a millennia. Alright, so this is the gameplay map as it is right now. And what you can see is, as I was mentioning already, that some of the map is locked out. We're not going to deal with Carthage, Numidia. We are not going to deal with the Epirians. Looks like Greece does sneak on the map there. Anyways, we're just locked here into playing as Rome for now. Lippincott Boss says that music needs a grand staircase epic entrance. Yeah, no kidding. So this is the state of affairs. I don't know when this game starts. Let's see. We are Rome. Let me just guess. I'm trying to guess. I know it's going to say, oh, okay, by 281, by 202. It's probably 202 then. But I was going to guess 200s. So Rome is not unified, obviously. We're still fighting individuals. Yeah, this is pretty early on. This might be like 200? 250 maybe? Let's find out. Anyways, let's read first the context. At the start of the game, Rome is just emerging as the dominant power in central Italy. By 281 BCE, it had come to dominate the south, but this also brought war with Carthage. By 202 BCE, Rome had survived near destruction to have the start of empire spread over Italy, Spain, and North Africa, and with growing involvement in Greece. The next 2 centuries saw territorial expansion, civil war, and the loss of the republican form of government. By the 180, I never understood BCE and CE. I think that BC and AD, that's what it's always been called, but somebody at some point was just decided to rename it. I'm not a big fan of adding jargon for jargon's sake, but anyway, so by 100 AD, Rome ruled from northern Britain to the Atlas Mountains, along with the Rhine and the Danube, all of the eastern Mediterranean. However, the need to keep a large population content led to increasing financial problems and the start of the decline. Lippincott mentions RP, Eric Forever. So I do want to mention that I really hope I can do a better U-boat video than the one we did yesterday. So there's some modifiers. You can pick in the actual full release of this game. This is kind of like Rome Total War, but on probably a slightly smaller scale, but with much greater detail. So you can see, I mean, instead of just these being individual cities and maybe spread out further apart than these are, you're gonna have a lot of different territories close by each other, and ultimately you're probably controlling about the same number of cities or territories, but just compact. Anyway, so hi Neil. I feel like, as a side note though, that U-boat video, which I was really hoping would go off well, because I want to turn back and ask U-boat for a full press copy, so maybe I can do a gameplay series on it. As it stands, with the demo copy I can't, but yeah, we'll address that issue at another time. So we have Cursus Honorum. This means that we have Leader Force Pool bonus +2. Pax Romana, conversion bonus for our culture stuff, our what people call themselves as, is 10% higher. For builders, this is actually really important. Infrastructure bonus of 10%, and 1 extra building slot for construction. So this is one mechanic that you have to balance a lot in the game, that cities are only given a number of buildings that they can build up to their population. So for the Romans, it'll be population +1. And that's, I mean, if your population is 7, the difference between 7 and 8 buildings is actually huge. As a republic, our commerce bonus is 10%, and we have a bonus of 5 experience for units that are created, which is not particularly high. I mean, some of the more despotic government forms, monarchies and stuff, I think they get bonuses of 10. There might be one out there with 15, I don't know. An aristocratic elite, leader force pool +3, but decadence gain further increased by 10%. This is probably a wash. It's gives you more leaders, which I don't think is very good, and the decadence gain is not good. I mean, the +3 is a positive thing, don't get me wrong, but it's just that Rome has so many leaders, I don't think it's that important. So let's just say, okay, now again, this is, the goal is to conquer the peninsula as fast as possible, but I thought today we would just kind of sit, smell the roses, and basically just kind of play the game as we might play it normally. The challenge was over as of last Friday, like a week ago, a week from yesterday. So we can't submit our complete conquest of the peninsula as a challenge. So let's just kind of play the game and have fun. You know, that's why I think that this is just going to be... Now, I think that this is because if it's a beta build and the whole gameplay mechanic that we're supposed to be taking advantage of is war. I feel like the war is more fleshed out right now, and they're probably still balancing some of the resource stuff, the economy. And I want to say this one more time, that this game, I don't know if I already said this on camera or if you heard me already, but this game reminds me a lot of a much more complicated Rome Total War. The original Rome Total War was like an amazing game. When I first started playing it, I was like, my mind was blown by the amazing strategic depth, and I feel like that they were just depths, by the amazing, I'm sorry, tactical depth. And I always felt with the Total War games when they first came out, the very first ones, that the strategic map was just a shell, kind of like Rule the Waves, that the strategic map was just a shell for a tactical, for tactical battles to be generated. But they actually did it, Rome Total War, I thought they did the strategic level very well, in fact. So anyways, Roman army, let's start with the top. The Roman Republic has to contend with several threats right from the start. The Senones, a Celtic tribe to your northeast, are eager to repeat the sack of Rome. They are your main enemy and are already at war with your nation. The Etruscan and Samnites are your neighbors and will have to be pacified one way or another. The Roman army is made of 2 disciplined Roman legions and 2 allied legions called Alaei, or Alae. But 2 extra legions can be recruited very rapidly. It is advised to do so, as things will get tense very soon. And we'll probably follow that advice still. So we're at war with these Senones, which is their green territory here and their green territory here. I, as the Romans, have 3 territories right now. Tiberius, or Tiberius, Latium, boy, my tongue, and Campania. So, we should have a good time with this one. We're going to have pop-ups, like little events that are going to trigger on the right-hand side. Right now, the only one is this Rome and Senones war. We also have, this is just the pop-up notification to start the game. And now we can start looking at how do we describe the game? Like what are the resources? What are the gameplay mechanics available to us? We'll start with the top. We have our money, manpower, metal, and legacy. I think these mostly do what you expect. There's also food at the individual level, somewhere here. Down here. Okay, yeah, these are the global resources, and then we have our individual resources on the right-hand side. So for Latium, we have food of 37, which is plus increasing at a rate of 16 per turn. 0 infrastructure left over, but the most important thing is just that we have 23 we're gaining per turn. We're gaining 37 money. The money, there's no standing money for a province, it's all in the global pool. 22 culture, 11 manpower, 9 metal, and one really important thing for recruitment is actually how much equipment you have. So we have 80 currently stockpiled in Rome, and we gain 36 more a turn. So if I go over to the unit recruitment queue, these are the units I currently can recruit. I can recruit a legion, and this requires, down here we see this is 50 equipment. Now I'm gaining 36 equipment, which means I probably can only build one of these legions once every 2 turns or so, based on the amount of equipment. I mean, we just have to produce so many shields, swords, armor, etc., probably mostly armor, that it's going to take a while to get prepared for a full legion. But we have enough stockpiled that we can, as the game suggested, add 2. Now this is going to take, since it's 50 each, 100 of our available 116 equipment. So we can probably get something else, like the Veltes only require 10 equipment, the Cavalry require 15. So we can get Cavalry or Veltes, whichever one we prefer here. I think that the skirmishing bonus is better from this. Let's see, range attack of 5, support unit. I somehow think that they are better. This has a range attack of 6, so it is better in this sense, but their combat power of 1, and this has a combat power of 2. I think that the combat power is what they add in their support role. I just seem to remember from the battles the Veltes are actually better as support units. Let's take a look at what our army currently consists of. So we have 1 cavalry, 2 light cavalry, 3 Veltes, 2 LAs. AE is pronounced as E? A? No, A. It's A, I think. LA. And legions, 2 legions. So we'll have 2 more legions. These are basically the weaker, like imposter legions. They're nowhere near as good. So we're not going to be too anxious to build more of those. There's a lot of different things we can do here, but it doesn't really make sense to assault or garrison Rome. We'll probably just be moving in to attack, but first let's start off by defending Tiberius. And we're just going to recruit a bunch of forces. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to leave him here so that we can pick up the legions from next turn. but we will also potentially recruit some Velites and see. We have just 8 equipment, not enough to do anything here. You do want to, as with Rome Total War, you do want to like specialize different provinces for building units or not. We do have some equipment down here, so at 13 we can get 1 Velites. This is actually a pretty weak start. I think we randomly rolled some low equipment rolls, but that's fine. Or we could, if we wanted, I guess, get 1, which will be ready in 2 turns. And I think we will get 1 more. I mean, what we need most from Rome itself are legions. So I'm actually just going to get 3, even though we're not going to be able to build this one first. So Basketball Baller says, Basketball Baller, United, and more like that. When is victory at Pacific? Will you do Japan campaign and British? So especially after I recently watched, earlier today, we were all kind of gawking over, let me pull it up. What's his name? Montemayor's, it's a YouTube channel. He did this Battle of Midway 1942. It was very recently released. Wonderful description, very, very detailed overview of the Battle of Midway. So I quite appreciated that. It made me like really excited to play Victory at Sea Pacific game, because I feel like that doesn't quite encompass all the gameplay factors. I mean, the gameplay factors don't really encompass all the excitement of being, in that whole situation, not really knowing what's going on with the enemies, where their fleets are, but it captures some of that. Anyway, so the episode of that will probably be released in a couple days. So we gotta start to get some buildings underway. Sorry, I know that I get distracted talking about things which are not this game when I'm streaming, but I'll try to focus on Fields of Glory Empires while we're here. So now I talked about some of these mechanics. I mean, I think a lot of it makes sense. Our population here is 5? Oh, population is 12, but we have 5 of 13 building slots. So you can see we have 12 population. This is the important one. And we have a building for every population, plus 1, because of the builder. That guy makes military history visualize seem like an amateur. His content is amazing. Paolo has it exactly right. Amazing. It really is so good. I can't believe the Montemayor is not like... He should be... It reminds me, if you want to know, of what History Channel used to be when I was a kid. Like, the History Channel used to have... first of all, it used to have actual historical content. And I just remember, these great World War II documentaries narrated by these British commentators that... the videos are stuck in my head. Anyway, so what do we have? What do we want to do with our 3 cities to start with? Well, I believe that I'm going to specialize Rome with our building projects, but probably everyone would benefit from wood cutting. In fact, it's one of my favorite things to get, because it gives you infrastructure and money. Infrastructure just helps you build buildings faster, so at some point it's not that important. And also, when we form regions, I don't know exactly how the mechanic is, but it seems like regions, when you form a region, the infrastructure from one place can help with another. So we may not need as much of that in the end. Oh, a brickwork is another great one, though, because we can get... Oh, but clear water. This is absolutely one of the best, because it does not take up a building slot. So you can see on the right here, slot usage 0. That makes it one of the best things that you can get. Although this oil mill is fantastic too. Good food, good health, only a limited impact on your infrastructure. Oh boy, I think we might have to go with an oil mill. Infrastructure is only 23 in Rome, which is not fantastic. You can see that even the brickwork itself would take 3 turns to complete. Oil mill would take 2 turns, but... Let's go with the oil mill. I'm not pleased by it, and we can get the clean water later. So that's 2 of our places with something to build. Now let's satisfy that for Tiberius as well. A marble quarry. We don't have marble here, so it's not going to be as impactful to do that. Ooh, salt house, which gives us food and health. at only a minor infrastructure cost. That one seems rather nice. I think we'll go with that. Paolo Beeb says, I actually have one of those World War II collections you talked about. They were sold in newsstands in my country 10 years ago. Wow. Paulo, aren't you supposed to be on vacation? Or maybe this is how you spend your vacation. Anyway. Okay, so I think we've covered what we want to do for our armies. We're just going to build up a whole bunch of things and send them at the Senones, conquer them quickly. We have to watch out because the Samnites are they're gonna do some raids. So hopefully we can withstand those, repel those even without taking too much damage. Anyways, so this is what a turn in Empires looks like. It's kind of like I said, a lot like Rome Total War, the original, which basically, the way I see this game is a more complicated Rome Total War, which is amazing. Okay, anyways, so let's end the turn. I don't think there's anything else we need to do diplomacy-wise. This early on, we only have 3 provinces. Not too much we need to do. Let's progress. We don't need to review the replay because nothing really happened. I mean, you can see we have an aging token. I haven't really got into the deeper mechanics here, but just to start with, oh man, corruption in the Optimates party led to inefficiency and briberies. Rome civilization is regressing. Aging tier reach. Wow, that's nice, quick, and fast, huh? So I guess this is the time to get into it. There is this mechanic in the game which is supposed to simulate the rise and fall of Rome, basically. I mean, I don't know if it also applies in particular to other nations, but to me it seems really there mostly to deal with Rome. Because there's this whole question, like, why did the Roman Empire fall, and like, was it... Everyone has their theories on this. So the way this game is approaching it is with this culture and decadence. So essentially, if you don't pay enough attention to the internals of a city or a nation, you will collapse. If we are very warlike and we only build up our war, then that's not good. In fact, this historical cultural value of 8 versus our decadence value of 5, this ratio of 1.6 is very not good. It's not good at all. But this is, I think, how this scenario is supposed to be played out, with you kind of fighting against time to get everything done before your civilization just kind of falls apart and regresses. Okay, so what was this? Okay, so they have given us a new objective to conquer, which is way up there. Not going to be particularly easy for us to get to right away. Let's look at the other stuff that's going on. So this is the aging token and the corruption pop-up that we already talked about. Alright, now we did at least get some legions, and they have nicely found their way into our first Roman army. We now have 4 legions, 2 LAs, 4 velites, no, 3, I can count, 1 cavalry and 2 light cavalry. So Laser says, Historiograph is another good history channel for naval stuff, did some great vids on the World War II Norwegian campaign. Very good, thank you. What I think I'm going to do is invade. We can expect minimum garrison strength power of 12, which is obviously much less than our own. I believe we have enough to combat these guys, and what I'll do is I'll bring in these Velites right behind them. We also have note of one legion, which should be ready to go next turn. And that's only going to leave 2 left over, so even 1 more Velites is not going to be ready. So we'll just cancel the Velites for now. The extra equipment we'll just stockpile. This other Velites will be finished. We're going to get cavalry next turn, which is going to be 15 of our 16 equipment, so no real sense in building anything else. We can just wait. So let's look at the building projects, how they're doing. We have 2 more turns for this wood cutting. We have 1 more turn for the oil mill. And we have 1 more turn for the salt house. So this is a nice quick turn. We can see that we're losing a lot of money, We'll turn that around. Right now, I think a lot of that is due to us recruiting so heavily, especially the Roman legions get more expensive the more you have. So it's 150 gold right now, and you can see this little asterisk right about here which says money cost increases with each active unit by 25%. So Bassballer says, get some land in Africa to rule the Mediterranean. Yeah, so this game, game mode, this scenario itself does not focus as heavily on the Mediterranean. Like, you know, something that, like, historically, Rome is around the 100 BC. I mean, I would say around, well, when Caesar came to power at least, but even before then, was extremely interested in Egypt. Alexandria, I think, was the second most populous city in the Mediterranean. I believe second only to Rome. So I might not be correct. Somebody will have to fact check me on that. But so it's a huge, huge deal. Egypt is a very big thing. It's all the Pompey dynasty left over from Alexander the Great, and involved in a lot of civil wars, as many of these places were. But yeah, Alexandria. I mean, the Great Library at Alexandria. There's like lots of important things going on over there. We'll end the turn for now, so we don't have any more things we need to do. And it looks like that we'll be fighting a force of 17. Not good. So the good news is the frontage is 12. We got a little bit lucky here. Actually, really, once you're above, well, no, because we have combat units supporting units, so this might be very bad for us. And thankfully, even though I didn't do it, there was already a general who's extremely competent in charge of this. And this is now something very sorry, Ptolemaic dynasty, Zilly just says, not Pompey. Yes, sorry about that. Ptolemaic, of course. Yeah, Buddy says, new Paradox game. No, so this is actually interesting. I have not caught up with all the release of Imperator Rome, which, for those of you living under a rock, Imperator Rome by Paradox was released a couple days ago. And me, I am stuck playing Age of Empires. Age of Empires. This title. Field of Glory Empires. What is this game? It's the AGEOD strategic map paired with the Field of Glory combat system. And this is what I want to talk about exactly next. So good with segue, yeah, buddy. Yeah, Pompey Magnus was in Egypt only very, very briefly. I mean, that's where he was killed, right? Famously, getting off the boat in Egypt. Yeah, good evening from Germany, says Husky. Welcome. So what I want to talk about is the battle system in this game. The reason why I say this game reminds me so much of Rome Total War is because the battle system, which is currently not implemented, you can see export the battle to play in a compatible version of Field of Glory 2. This is the beautiful thing. This game will essentially offer the strategic map and the tactical map. But you have the Field of Glory Empires, this strategic map, for Rome Total War and the earlier Total War titles was just a strategic shell to get you into a tactical combat. This is a fully fledged game. So it's really a meeting of two fully fledged games. It's kind of like if you were to take Hearts of Iron or some other World War II simulator at the grand strategy level, get into a battle, and then you took that into, let's say, like some World War II tactical battle simulator, like combat missions or something like that. Or close combat, or any of these. What's the one with, the capture the flag type mechanic? I can't even remember. But anyways, it's kind of cool. You can basically export your little battle, which, I mean, is not a little battle, it's a big battle, but you can export this battle into another game and then play it out over several hours, which is amazing because you're impacting something at the strategic level. And Slitherine has joined. All right. Okay, I didn't know about that importing to Field of Glory 2. Will the result of the battle in Field of Glory 2 export back to Empires? And the answer is yes. So what I'm showing in this resolution right now is the option to use the Field of Glory 2 battle is not currently available, not in this build. But what you can see if we go to the view battle is it's almost already Field of Glory-like. It's a marriage between AGEOD and the developers of Field of Glory, which, gosh, I can't remember his name, the main guy behind it. But I've emailed him directly even, so I feel bad that I forgot his name. I apologize for you. Anyways, so it's very cool. Because Field of Glory 2, there's a difficulty level in that game, but kind of the cool thing is we can fight battles that are one-sided and just stomp your opponents. I don't know why that seems so fun to me, but it is. Or, you know, if it's a very close battle, like this will be a very close battle, we might lose this. We could try to influence it a little bit better in our favor by exporting it. So let's go ahead and look at some of the battle. We'll first do a range component. I'm not going to use continuous play, which will speed things up greatly. But for now, we'll just look at things step by step to kind of look into all the wonderful details. First, start by throwing all the melee stuff, and basically they have a lot of ranged people. We did also. So the net result from this is that 2 of my men are exhausted, 1 is tired. 1 of theirs is exhausted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are tired. And these units are just going to fight worse. You can see the effectiveness on this, the 4th line down, effectiveness of 0, -2. So units with a lower effectiveness, effectiveness is something that they repair very quickly on the strategic map. After they have lost their effectiveness, they will lose hit points itself. So this basically just, you don't want this obviously low, and it will impact the combat rolls. Now let's go ahead and, oh my god, we're war chariots. This might be a loss for us. Okay, so against their war chariots, you can see that they have a +1 combat bonus because their urban militia apparently are effectiveness of 1 support. Their combat rating is 1. But I have Velites, which as I mentioned, have a combat rating of 2. So they're adding 2 to the support. So they've already thrown their ranged weapon and helped me out in that manner. But beyond that, if they're not on the front lines, they still continue to essentially kind of throw their melee weapons by supporting the unit directly in front of them. This is a really nice simulator, I have to say. I think this is pretty representative of how the game would play out in the Field of Glory 2 battle engine. So let's go ahead and take 8 to 4. I think the die roll is between this minimum roll and 10, I believe. So this should be a win for us because on average, even with a slight standard deviation, they should not roll 4 better than us. But it's just a single die roll, so it could happen. And it did not. I mean, they actually did roll better than us. But you can see that we did 2 effectiveness damage. So 2 effectiveness damage and 1 actual hit point. So this unit still has 2 effectiveness left and all 3 of its hit points. Let's move on to the next one. So they have a slight advantage here because it's just our allays, unfortunately. And they have a support bonus. We're actually even, but we don't have a support unit. So I probably should have waited 1 more turn and then I would have waited, but Husky B says, I might not be an expert, but I think that throwing a pylon isn't that hard to be tired after it. Yeah, so it's not that you are tired by throwing your weapon, it's that they have effectively, you are impacting the enemy unit. You actually in real life, realistically would be killing people, or maybe the pylons are stuck in their shields, it's a common thing, right? Then they can't use their shields. Whatever it is, after you throw your pylons at them, which is what some of my units were doing, their effectiveness has decreased. And that's just a way of saying that maybe some of their units are dead, but it's not enough that they're at the strategic map have lost like a third of their forces or something. But they're just going to fight slightly less effectively. Maybe the flaming arrows or whatever, we don't have that in this case, but maybe those just impacted the morale of the troops, and they're a little bit more skittish, and then they won't fight as well. Something like that. Now let's hope that because I can roll 2 attack dice, and they only roll 1 extra, so we take the best of whatever rolls. I'm rolling 3, they're rolling 2, so it gives me a much better chance to roll higher. Let's see if that happens. It did. You can see that if we were left with this, it would have been 7 to 6, that would have been even. But because it wasn't, it was 8 to 6, that gave me the 1 bonus that meant that we took 1 hit, effectiveness away from the enemy unit. Another thing that we're going to see at the end of the battle is if we have won the majority of our fights, we will quote-unquote win the battle, and they will have broken, or it simulates them as if they've broken, and we'll have a pursuit phase. So the main way that in the ancient times soldiers died, I mean the number of soldiers died in the actual battle clash itself is like very little. Let's say it's 10,000 versus 10,000. When people are actually colliding together and fighting and killing each other, they may lose less than 1,000 each. When you lost the majority of your people is if the lines broke and the cavalry, and everyone was just slaughtering the people who were retreating. This is where you lost the majority of your troops. So that's also simulated in this, that you do a lot of fighting and you lose some units here and there, but the majority of you're going to lose a lot more in the pursuit. Alright, so we did well here. We were up by 1, and we rolled better by 1. They're actually rolling pretty well, by the way. And we did... Oh, okay, we did actually 1 hit point of damage. I didn't see the exact result, but I believe they might have already had 1 effectiveness. They were already tired, right? So they had 1 effectiveness, and they were at full health. So because we were up by 2, we did 1 effectiveness and 1 heart of damage. And this is all going to come down to the rolls, but one of the great things we're going to see here is that the cavalry, actually these may not be really amazing skirmishers, but the skirmishers actually have an ability to avoid combat sometimes. Avoid damage. Oh, that's not good. Stalemates, if it's an even roll exactly, this is the worst case scenario. Both sides lose 1 effectiveness and 1 hit point. And I like this idea because it simulates that when you're exactly even, both sides are basically slogging it out, and this is the worst case. If somebody's a little hesitant, like, oh, I think we're going to start to lose, they might be a little bit more conservative. And usually that's not, that amount of conservative passiveness or whatever is not compensated for entirely. The other side might be more aggressive, but they don't usually force as much combat still, because that would require extreme aggression. Anyway, so 3-1, this might be a better chance for us to see. We're at 1 effectiveness and we have 1 heart. I believe what's going to happen here is we're not going to take as much damage because even though we'll lose the die roll, probably, we may actually maneuver out of the damage. So let's see what happened. So we're down by 1, but you can see evading skirmisher. So we didn't lose any effectiveness or anything. In fact, they lost 1 effectiveness. Why is that? Because we were able to avoid it as a superior skirmisher. And this makes sense, right? Like cavalry riding against warriors, we're just going to dance around them. Last but not least, we have, unfortunately, these Veltes are exhausted. This is not good for us. But it's 2-1. We may be able to avoid it as a skirmisher, although cavalry probably can prevent us from avoiding it. Didn't matter, we got a really good die roll, and they were invading. So you can see that they didn't take any hit points damage because they're cavalry and, essentially they can, in the same way that our light cavalry avoided the warriors, their cavalry is going to avoid our Veltes. Okay, so we'll maybe punch through this a little bit faster. We should be way up on the... Oh man, we don't have a support bonus, otherwise this would be a 6-4, but that's still not that much. Hopefully we win this. Okay, that's good. Kind of what we'd expect. So you can see with the 4 difference, we did 2 effectiveness, 2 hit points. Moving on. Our lays, which are not that great. This one has a support bonus, so it's 2 up on us, but maybe our die roll will get us. No, in fact, we got... In fact, with the 6 damage, they completely eliminated our unit, which is obviously not good. Not that those allays were doing that much work for us, but still. Alright, hopefully this will be our chance to win that back, and it is. We completely eliminate theirs. And now it's just going to come down to the flanks. How do the flanks hold up? This is mostly die rolls. So we did well here. The extra die roll, you cannot, play that down. That has a very serious advantage. And if we continue to win these, I think we're on the verge of... Okay, that might have set us back enough that... we lost the Veltes entirely too. I guess they weren't able to flee the warriors. So I'm sure that we probably won't pursue. This will be an even fight now. And they'll avoid the damage, and we still took it, so draw. Now what would have happened here if we had actually managed to have a lot of successes is there would have been a pursuit phase. In this case, there was none. Okay, so battle ended in a draw. What that's going to mean, unfortunately, is that we'll re-engage, but we will have lost 2 people, and they will only have lost 1, which means they'll be outflanking us. Boy, that's not good. Okay, so there's another range phase. Not going to go well for us. Okay, it didn't go that terrible. We got 2 down and tired, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are exhausted. However, this unit being exhausted, it's on the flank. It gets a free attack against these Veltes anyway. I don't think that's going to end up playing out well for us. So let's see what happens with the die rolls. Again, 3 versus 2 might make the difference here. Started off well. Okay, still doing okay. It's not very much. We need, very good rolls. Okay, this should be a kill. Ooh, actually, they rolled a 10, for crying out loud. They rolled another 10. We rolled a 10 as well, don't get me wrong, but this is not good. This is going very poorly for us. We rolled 2 10s there. Nah, save that 10 for another die roll. Man, the number of 10s that are being rolled here is insane. Also, losing these forces is actually terrible for us, because that means we're going to be outflanked even more next turn. Okay, please. Good. At least we're coming back a little bit on the right flank. Okay, now I think this might have gone well. No, I don't want to jinx it. Oh, I jinxed it. Thank goodness they have evaded that. Please. Now the important thing is this flank attack. Okay, it's only a 4 against a 2. We just need to defend. Please defend well. Oh my god! Whoa! That was not good. Oh, that did not go well. I think we could have taken a 2, but not a 6. And who's pursuing who? We are pursuing them. Amazing. So this battle went well enough for us that we're actually pursuing, which is amazing. I'm surprised. And you can see that this is where you're really cutting down their forces. So a victory for us. Bit risky, I have to say, for us to have like initiated that, but it paid off in the end. But boy, did we get cut down to size. And now the important thing is we still have our legions. There's no Varus giving me back my legions in this fight, which is nice. And we'll send all the reinforcements we have to help that group out. They're going to sit tight for a turn and try to recover, which maybe is pretty obvious. And we'll send all of our reinforcements there. They'll all be there next turn. We'll regroup and then attack. Alright, in the meantime, what other stuff happened? We had this battle which was fought. We'll just close that right away. Battle was fought. We got that. Region Latium is receiving 1 slave after the battle in Picenum. Picenum. I'm going to call it Picenum. There's like 2 different ways to pronounce Latin nowadays, and one of them's like the Germanic way, one of them's like the Latin. That's funny because Latin is Latin, but like the Romantic Latin way, the way you would hear it, it's more closely resembles the Latin or Romantic languages. I kind of prefer the Romantic version, so because I'm a romantic at heart. Anyway, what do we want to do next? Oh, I was going to explain. So you can see that slaves are helping us out. Some of our population are slaves. The citizens are better, obviously, but the slaves are still very productive when they work in either the food and health categories or in the military categories. They're not very good if their effectiveness is greatly reduced if you try to put them into culture or in the economy stuff. So, Zen Kedron says, "Oh, hey, you're streaming." Indeed, I am. And this is Field of Glory Empires. Nice little ground strategy in the ancient Roman times. I mean, again, there's no coincidence that I'm mentioning Imperator Rome. I'm gonna hopefully look into Imperator Rome more now that maybe I can have a little bit more time. In fact, next week, busy week for me, but hopefully after that I can actually jump into it. So we've conquered Picenum. There's a great victory, and we actually plundered 116 money, which is great because our money was not doing very well. Oil mill is completed in Latium. That's fantastic. So what do we want to build next? Well, an herbalist looks fantastic. 6 health, 1 manpower. Shepherd House does not look as good, but it does produce wool, which is fantastic. Woodcutter's always good. Gives you both infrastructure and money. I think let's set up health stuff. We might want... Oh, this is quite good. Coastal market. Oh, yeah. I think we're going to set up a coastal market. Gives us food and it gives us money. What's not to like? Yeah, let's do that. Only going to take 1 turn. Our woodcutter will be done next turn. And what do we build here? Sanitation's not bad. Flax field produces flax for us. Brickwork. There is stone in here, so we will get a bonus of 5 infrastructure. That's 17 total. That's quite good. Although the infrastructure in this province is actually already off to a good start. Ooh, a blacksmith is going to be very helpful. We get 5 infrastructure from iron. but we are missing the copper, which I think would give us an additional bonus of 5. So Lasers says, Imperator Rome is just as disappointing as one might fear. A Frankensteinian husk of CK2 and EU4 to be given life by DLC later. Got it. Yeah, I've kind of heard the same thing. I'd like to make Reserve Judgment for myself, basically, because I don't know. I'm not that critical of Paradox. I may have been more critical of them lately, just because, you know, it's just a company. Their vision as a company, they're becoming more popular. It's kind of at odds with my love of very niche, very overcomplicated, not going to appeal to a large audience type games. So, anyway. Okay. Picenum is now part of Rome, so we got some bonus due to conquering an objective. And that took away one of our negative, like, aging tokens, which is good. What? Oh, so we have a pop-up here. This is a thing we can do. Slave status varied a lot depending... So you have decisions you can make from time to time. Slave status varied a lot depending on the nation you lived in, but the common factor is that you were living merchandise. In some nations, it was possible, through the generosity of the masters or a show of great skills, to be freed and climb the social ladder. Very few nations allowed slaves to have children, and slave revolts were common and met with extreme violence by the enemy. Yeah, of course, the biggest one, Spartacus, was like tens... I think they defeated a Roman legion first, didn't they? The one by Crassus? And then Pompey swooped in and... Actually, Crassus, that's right, Crassus actually had them on the ropes after another legion was lost. And Pompey swept in and stole all the credit, basically. So we can improve slave rights, which a series of laws will slightly improve slave rights. In regions with a government or science building, slaves can have their base unrest reduced by 1, 25% chance per slave. Regions with slave markets will suffer a penalty of 5 to loyalty and commerce for 20 turns. Courthouse or palace are governmental buildings. School or academy are existing beside. So I don't think we have any of these buildings. We can get some money. Each region will, with at least one slave, will get a 10% food and infrastructure bonus for 12 turns. They will increase unrest by 1. I don't think I have any of the buildings needed, so like I kind of want to just take the money. So we'll go ahead and choose this option. Now you can keep these options in your back pocket for a while. You don't have to immediately choose them. But in this case, I'm just going to choose that. And who knows how far we'll get into this gameplay, into this empire building. But we'll at least experiment with some of the laws available to us, or some of the decisions. Husky says, a roleplay of that game would be great if all comments were written in Latin. Ah, is that Imperator Rome? Okay, they have another objective for us in Tiberius and completed the Salt House. So yeah, we already dealt with our new construction projects, except for in Picenum. Or Picenum. Picenum, I guess. Brickwork. We have the bonus of stone here. That's a great one. Herbalist. Oh yeah, we already looked at these. These are just two really good options. The 8 infrastructure is so low, I guess we're going to have to go with brickwork. Yeah. Yeah, let's do the brickwork. What was this? A massive influx of war veterans and their families are coming in Colonia Latium. I don't know what that means. Does it mean more equipment or something? I don't think so. So we're not producing any equipment right now. You can see the importance of Veltes, so we're going to go ahead and get 2 of these and another cavalry right away. Just gimme. Veltes here. Veltes, I think, are just really important, and you can... If everyone has support in the entire army, I mean, this is just a great thing, right? So, to your extreme benefit to have a lot of support. Although... I am partial to building yet another legion, even though, yeah, I mean, they're getting expensive, but we lost one of our LAs. We're down to 6 legions total, is that correct? 1 extra here, so we're down to 5 plus 1 LA. 5 legions and 1 LA. So we're down to, yeah, 6 frontline fighters. I think we're going to have to build another legion, which unfortunately is going to take a lot. So let's actually cancel. Let's see. How do we... With 36, that's going to bring us up to 72. So we're only allowed to spend 70 in order to build 1 legion in 2 turns. And then everyone else will be in 3 turns. But that's fine because we can actually build... Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we're just not going to use as much light cavalry then. Ken Zen says, let's reduce slave rights for money. Emperor Tortuga, 308 BC. I mean, look, it's so early. We don't even know what we're doing with slaves yet. We haven't developed a philosophy about how to use them well. So early on in my rule. Okay, and I haven't gone through the ledger and the diplomacy stuff yet, but maybe we'll just try to avoid that and stick with the simple gameplay stuff as long as possible. The economy stuff is still beyond me, by the way. I should say that there's this trade details tab, and I haven't explored it greatly. You can see hints of it when it says, like, you get a little bonus. So this produces stone, our quarry, and then it'll say sometimes, like, gives a bonus due to stone. Maybe that's what the blacksmith... Oh, so the flax field produces flax, obviously. Yeah, so the brickwork produces a bonus of 5 infrastructure from stone. So you can kind of stack things on top of each other. There's actually a nice specialization system to this. If you really know what you're doing, you can specialize, okay, this is going to have a quarry. I'm then going to build this because that gets a bonus from having stone. And then that building will provide some bonus to the blacksmith. You know, I mean, you can kind of stack these effects, which is really interesting. So there's, like I said, it's Rome Total War, but with much greater complexity at the nation level, at the city level. Throwing more legions at it the Roman way. That's right. That's what we plan to do. So go ahead and end this turn. And we're really lucky as well that we have such a good general. So, this general is amazing. 2 and 2. It's fantastic. Let's combine all of these, in fact. Merge. This is a pretty strong force. And a lot of these guys, you can see these have 15 combat strength because they've already been through a war, so they're going to have a little bit of experience to fall back on. It's going to help us a lot that we have so many surviving veterans. We will have 6 frontliners, 3 Velte support, and 2 light cavalry support. Okay, so that's, how many units is this total? It's 12 units. When we go to here, we can see that it's a swamp, which means our legions are going to unfortunately suck. They have 8 units with a combat power of 19, so very poor. But they're going to get some defense from this garrison. I think we're just going to go ahead and bulldoze through them anyway. And maybe we end up losing because we're being way too aggressive here, but maybe not. Merchants and patricians. Spend metal to acquire money or manpower. Okay, so we have to sell like a lot of metal. 300 it turns out. We can get 500 money, or we can get manpower for it. Now, I haven't had a problem with manpower in my previous playthrough, so we'll probably take the money because money is life. There are definitely situations where you need that money. Just in case things don't go well, what I'm going to do is send this group of 2 in here. They'll make it, but not before the battles are being fought. They probably won't make it until the battles are completely decided. And I'm just going to move this unit over to Latium. Let's take a look at the... Well, okay, so raise loyalty. Okay, so we have another thing, which is religious ceremony stuff. We're probably going to do this first one. Religious ceremonies were already very important in the ancient times. Worshipping had a wide range of practices, and people were prone to adopt the gods of other ethnicities, if it could give them some supposed benefits. So our first one is add a feast to the calendar. A new day to feast and celebrate a divinity or important event will be added in the calendar so that people can rejoice and rest. Probably another one will be removed or abandoned in a few years, though. Gives a plus 5% loyalty or plus 5 loyalty bonus for 12 turns if the region has no religious buildings. If a region, I mean, they're affected. Productivity is slightly lowered, so we'll lose a little bit of taxes to do this. But the loyalty bonus is probably going to help when we're capturing all these different things. Otherwise, these require, I think, more religious buildings, which we don't yet have. So there's a Senate here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's a Preceptor House and an Abandoned Palace. So this Abandoned Palace actually gives us Decadence, although it does increase Legacy. And we can't disassemble it, but anyway, it's fine. Okay, so we have more buildings to choose as well. Probably that's over here. Reduce the rights of slaves, that's right. They're not going to be happy. The next few months will be particularly harsh to men and crops. That's not good. Wood cutting has been completed and coastal market. Okay, so we did get two things. Campania has completed something. So we can get a brickwork, which is going to benefit from stone. Oh, clear water is always nice, because it does not take a building slot. Flaxfields, it just doesn't, it's so little food that I don't know if I want to do that. Coastal market, we're missing fish, but honestly we should be able to get fish soon. Cheap building that will help propagate a common culture among your nation. I want to kind of experiment with what happens when we do the culture stuff, but for now, to me, the no-brainer is either clear water or brickwork. With 41 infrastructure, this would be a lot of infrastructure. But it also would be our third tier 1. Oh, I didn't explain this, but you can see this is a tier 2 and this is tier 1. You can only get to tier 2 buildings, unless you start with them, of course, if you have 3 existing previous tier buildings. So that also includes tier 3s need 6, essentially, buildings. Yeah, they need 6 total buildings, whereas tier 2s need 3 total previous buildings. So this will be our third tier 1, we'll be able to get tier 2. So let's just do the brickwork. And Rome will build, a salt house. It's actually going to lose, a smokehouse, I should say. It's going to lose a lot of money, unfortunately. I don't know why we're going to lose so much money from it. Or we could do brickwork, but, well, it is pretty low. We do have stone here. Or we can build a weapons manufacturer. Interesting. But we don't have coal. If we give us a lot of equipment, we'll lose a little bit of infrastructure. Or a fishery. Actually, getting fish, I think, is very important. It does... Oh, a cult site. Oh, I think this is what we're going to do. Because we do want some kind of religious buildings. Then we'll actually be able to do some interesting things. So let's do this. Oh, although farm, what's our population growth? In 6 turns, that's not bad. Food is plus 42, is actually quite nice. Let's go ahead and do the cult site. Experiment with trying to keep people happy in this playthrough, which I did not do in my last one. Alright, so everyone has a building project. I don't know if there's any other recruiting things we want to do. We have enough to recruit here. I'd prefer to recruit here, just not because of just, that we're getting legions and stuff like that, which we definitely need, but I think I get an XP bonus from the people produced in both Latium and Campania. The general of the Roman legion was called Legate, who were from the stand of senators. Interesting. So I think we're gonna leave this alone. Finish Jaeger. Yo, look at this man and his new streaming kick. Yeah, this is what, the second in 2 days? Again, finish. I really want the U-boat. I really wanted the U-boat to go well, and it went so poorly. I'm glad to understand a little bit more about this game while I'm streaming it. So we'll go ahead and end the turn. We're just gonna kind of rush this. Here's this fight. 12 to 14, but the frontage is 5, so it won't really matter. It'll be basically everyone's best units and full support. So it'll probably be, this is basically all 5 of our legions, unless they fight so poorly that they actually cannot fit. They might be pulled off the front lines if they fight so poorly that it's better off for me to actually put in Velites or something. Let's see what happened. The battle's already decided, but... Okay, so we have support for 3. What's their support? I don't know what their support will be. But yeah, in this case, one of our allays replaced this legion, probably because of its... Yeah, because in this terrain, it's not as terrible as the legions. Anyway, let's run through this one. We are firing a lot of melee stuff, and they are 1, 2, 3, firing only 4. Yeah, so they tired one of our units, and we exhausted 3 of theirs, so obviously much in our favor. Okay, but still, things are not... Look at this, -2 for Legion because we're not in the correct territory. Marshes are not really where the legions want to fight. Although the war chariots are clumsy. They got a terrain defense? Huh, interesting. I don't know why chariots would fight well in a marsh, frankly. They should get some huge terrain penalty if you ask me, but some kind of fluke, I think. So, they take an effectiveness damage. We're not going to have a whole lot of fighting here, obviously. And looks like the exhaustion of that unit is actually helping us take a 1 lead. But again, we roll 3 dice, they only roll 2. And that has really saved us here. So, it's good. On the flanks, they are not actually even being supported, whereas when we have the +2 support bonus, that's actually making a huge difference here, the only difference. And the exhaustion, actually getting the -1 was very helpful as well. So, I mean, look, we're taking a -2 to the -2 penalty to terrain. They're taking a +2 bonus from terrain. And yet, we're still up on them. Well, it's because it's legions, right? They're very powerful. And wow, we devastated them. So things have gone well in the first 3 fights. If things go well in the next 2, we can expect to pursue them. So having this 1 advantage and then rolling additional dice, we should be rolling better than them at every point. And again, we are. Another unit down. I don't even know if this one matters. I would like not to have a damaged legion, so hopefully this is at least more or less equal. Oh god. It's just barely going to live, but we should pursue. Let's find out. Yes, we do. And we'll cut down a lot of their units, but more importantly, they have nowhere to retreat to. This is their last province, so we should essentially have eliminated the Senones. And that's very nice. You know, if I had fought this actually in the map, like, I think it would have been much more decisive, because you can probably maneuver your troops to be not in the terrible terrain. So I feel like bad terrain ones are going to be even more important to fight on the Field of Glory 2 tactical map, but... And that's it! Senones have been conquered. Ugh, +/-2. Ugh. That's not good. Our nation has started regressing, despite the plans led by the culture of nature is much too humble. Rome is now regressing, so we reached another aging token, whatever. Damn it. You know, we have a not bad 3 ratio is not bad. I don't know why we're regressing, but it doesn't matter. Finnish Jaeger says, I wanted it to go well too. It was fun to watch there be some attachment to the crew members with the chat. Yeah, I really enjoyed this everyone rooting for Eric. Finnish referring to my U-boat stream where we had some sailor come down with tuberculosis and then was injured in 3 successive bombing attacks on my sub. Anyway, but a lot of poor play on my part led to an unsuccessful patrol. Alright, Amelia has been added to our nation. We took it from the grips of Senones, that's obvious. We have taken 93 more money from them, which is good. We're barely staying afloat in terms of money. Fought the battle, we already know that. Blacksmith is completed in Tiberius. What do we do next? I mean, woodcutting. Whenever I say woodcutting, it's usually my go-to choice. Infrastructure and money? Like, yes, please. However, clear water is also a huge one to choose. Although this worship place, but it says bonus of 7 culture only if we have myrrh or frankincense, and we have neither of those things. However, this will still, nonetheless, give us a loyalty bonus of 6. I don't think we'll choose the slave market. There's not a whole lot of good choices. Oh, I mean, I guess there's still 2 reasonable choices here. I won't be using the studs because I mostly just have one or two places specialized for horses. This obviously allows you to recruit, the cavalry military units, but we do already have that. I think woodcutting is not. I mean, 1 more will unlock the tier 2s. But the clear water is really important as well. Population of 8. Let's go with Clearwater. Population is high enough at 8 that I want to protect the health situation. Alright, they're doing a Borvo Shrine. What in good lord is this? I'm not sure if I want this to be built or not. Versus a swamp draining. Ooh. Very costly for a low tier building. It can only be set up in swamp and marshes. So it gives us 8 health. It's pretty good health. The Wheelmaker, not that great because we don't have the lumber. This is where wood cutting would be a big advantage. Blacksmith always seems to bring in good things. Metal, money, and infrastructure. Or a worship place. Again, this won't give us the culture bonus, but it will give us the loyalty. Kind of a lot of interesting decisions here. I don't know what a Borvo Shrine is, most unfortunately. I think I'm going to let them keep building the Borvo Shrine just so I can see what it is, and then we can delete it if we want. Okay, so the Samnites are getting a little uppity now. I think it's time for us to turn our attention towards them. Latium was raided by Samnium, and the interlopers were soundly defeated. Okay, this is the good news, is that the raiding party were pushed back, I think. Gather food, produce more food, or instantly gain... Oh, interesting. This is a decision we have to make. The nation needs more food. For the citizens or soldiers. Decree that the peasantry must work more and harder. Using this option, the food output of our regions will increase by 15%, but we'll lose 10 loyalty points. These effects last 6 turns and cost some money per region. Or we can requisition food for the army. This gives us, and any place that has 1 military unit per 4 population will instantly get 6 food per population. Wow, that's a lot of food. For 6 turns, loyalty will be lowered by 5 points in all your nations, and no population growth will occur, whatever your stockpiles in food. So this seems like an option that if you are really on the border of not producing much food at all. 21, we're producing 21. So like 6 food per population would be 60, which is something we would cover in 3 turns anyway. So it doesn't seem like worthwhile for us to do that. It doesn't really seem worthwhile for us to do the other one because it impacts loyalty. And although these guys are relatively loyal at 80%, 65%, 80%, 55% because they were just conquered, and probably lowest here. No, 75%. So actually our loyalty and revolt risk is pretty low, which is good to see. Stevie, welcome. Borvo was the Celtic god of healing and healing waters, or spas, and his worship was popular across much of Western Europe. Interesting, thanks, Finnish. Zen says everything good here, though it's quite light. Eastern Europe time zone. Oh, okay, yeah. That's because Stevie popped in. Now I finally see what it is. Husky B said Alea Yakta S. The die is cast or something like that, right? It's famous words Caesar is supposedly claimed or said while crossing the Rubicon, violating the, basically legions were not allowed that close to the Senate, and that was his final commitment to the Civil War, which he would fight against Pompey. Depictions of this kind were common during the time of Roman occupation of Gaul and other countries in Europe, because it encouraged the idea of a harmonious relationship between the conquered Celts and Romans. So welcome, Stevie, by the way. I haven't seen you in a while. Everyone, I'm just checking to make sure everyone has a building. Let's see about building yet another legion. We probably don't need it. Let's get this group to come back. I mean, probably a lot of what's going on here. I'm going to merge, but I might actually leave this one legion behind with some forces. Because how much of this is due to the martial effect? Change from martial law is 0. Whoa. So none of they're actually loyal just immediately anyway? Not that I'm opposed. Quite the opposite, but quite surprised is what I would say. I do want this group to start recovering this, especially these legions. I might have to pull them off. We do have another legion who can basically sub for them, and we're going to fight, unfortunately, this group, the Samnites, are going to be in the mountains. So the frontage here is 5. Legions fight absolutely horribly there. They have 14 units, probably well equipped to fight. It's like we would like to engage them somewhere other than there, but there's no option. So... Okay, this is just Italia Superior by Eternus. This is a Italic Independence. We can actually invade these guys and take them over, and nobody will really care. So let's go ahead and... Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna drop this one out. Split. I might need to give him some reinforcements. I'm gonna drop off some of my experience units. Like, you are gonna merge with that. No, sorry. Yeah, it worked. So these 2 units are just gonna sit and recover, help the other guy recover, holding that area. The rest of the army is gonna continue to move on to prepare for an invasion of the next place, but we're gonna get everyone to lump up, as I like to do, over here. And what are we building right now as far as soldiers go? Who are we recruiting? We might be okay. I mean, they're gonna raid again, which I don't really want. Getting to 46. Let's just get like 1 Velites. Maybe 1. Again, I want to have enough to build more legions, but the money is obviously an issue. But we want to make sure this is going up. So we're going to have 40 next turn, and we're going to have another 36 after that, so we'll be at 76, which means we can spend 26 actually, and still be okay, which we can get 1 Velites and 1 light cavalry, and still have enough for 1 more legion the turn after that. Which is going to be very expensive, unfortunately. 188 money. We can afford it. These guys only cost 15, and this guy only costs 15, so you know what? It's fine. We can afford this. So 1 more Velites, 1 more light cavalry. We might want 2 different armies at some point. Finish said, this is not my words, by the way, from an online source. Yeah. Thank you for referencing that, though. Stevie, it's been a while. I watched almost all your vids, just never had time for a live stream. Yeah, no worries. I want to emphasize this point. Like, there's certain videos like this U-boat one, which I wish would have a lot of higher view count, only so that I can go back to the publisher and try to get a full press copy. That happens very infrequently. Most of the time, I'm not too concerned. I don't really... basically, I am myself a person who watches YouTube videos, and I'm not like deathly loyal to one person. I really like Quillatine's content. I like Dastax. I mean, I do like a lot of different people, but at the same time, I don't sit there and watch every one of their videos because who's got the time for that, right? And so I completely understand that, and I don't expect other people to be doing that as well. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back. Oh, well, this is a little disappointing, but it looks like I will be calling this stream to an early conclusion. Earlier than I expected, at least. I mean, man, it's been an hour. I can't believe I've only gone like 5 turns. No, that doesn't surprise me too much. I mean, let's see. Let me try to pump out just like 1 or 2 more quick turns. Let's conquer this, maybe conquer the Samnites, but essentially I'll have to go very, very, very soon. So maybe it's not even worth trying to hold... Oh, they want to promote cooperation. It's fantastic. Finnish says boo. I'm right there with you. Also not ecstatic about this. We'll agree to both of cooperations because we have ambitions in the south at this point. So yeah, they did that as well. We agreed to both of them. How's our army looking here? I mean, this looks potent. This is easily going to be able to take the forces there. And Fairweather, let's see. Who's in support? Oh, Polonius, he was not leading an army. One of our generals was dead. Here another general replaces him. This is where the leader pool comes in. I don't even know if I've shown this yet, but technically we have this many leaders to choose from. And this pool is much greater. You can see Curiatus here, determined. Wow, that's actually fantastic. This is absolutely going to be the leader of our second army. Determined movement bonus, 2 offensive rating. He's not going to do very well in defense, and our current general is awesome. He's at 2 and 2, which is the highest I think you can only go to 2. So it means he's the best you can be on offense and the best you can be on defense. Not too usual to see that. Corn law, food and water from the population. Oh, interesting. So we can... I haven't seen this one before. But we'll have to just kind of... I'm going to leave that one in the background because the most important thing is let's take 1 more territory, right? That's what I want to do. I want to take 1 more territory. This unit should be healed up by 1. It is. Its effectiveness is now 1 out of 2. And next turn it'll be 2 out of 2, and then it'll start gaining hit points. It is a slow, unfortunate process for a unit that was basically on the brink of destruction to be healed up. It's going to take, what, 4 total years? Let's do an experiment here. Let's see if they regain even while they move. I wasn't sure if they did. I can't remember, essentially. But anyway, let's see. What other stuff happened? Clearwater has been completed, and brick... Well, these are easy things to do. We'll just add some more stuff. Now I have no perfumes. Land expansion is quite nice because it... one, it provides 1 extra structure slot. Although Salt House is also extremely nice. It gives us food and health at very little cost of infrastructure, so we'll probably go with that. Although having cattle, see, I mean, there's so many interesting decisions you can make here. Stevie says, I just got here. Amazing. I'll come to the next one, though. Yeah, really sorry. This is against my desires as well, but these things happen. And I'm trying to, as you can see, in the last 2 days I've streamed twice. All I want was 1 more province. Sounds pretty. Roman says Zen. Yeah. Also, it shows you that this game does impart that just 1 more turn syndrome. So, speaking of that, let's go 1 more turn. Don't have to declare war on independent places. We just take them 14 to 11. Frontage is 8. Should still be a very sturdy, big defeat for them, I think, even though we're not going to fight extremely well in the hills, but probably not extremely poorly either. So we'll just let this one play out immediately. We only had 1 unit. Oh, wow, an even fight. Even though we were up, they just got really lucky there. God, wow, their rolls are just insane. That one's a little bit better. A little better, that went in our favor. But we're rolling 3 dice, they're rolling 1, so obviously, if we take the best of 3 dice rolls, they take the best of 1, we should just be annihilating them in every chance, you know. And that is mostly what is happening there. So, we took a little bit of damage, very little, and we won the battle, as we expected. So, 2 units a little bit weakened. And we took another thing. Hey, that's fantastic. So, you might be asking yourself, what is the... What's the challenge in this? Because, wait, what are they trying to do? Cooperation, that's fine. What's the challenge in this? Because it seems like we're rolling over these pretty quickly. Well, the thing I've already neglected to really show enough of is the increasing, like the decadence and stuff. Essentially, the current state of affairs for our like culture and all that is not going well. so our Decadence is increasing by, look at that, our Decadence is 12. It's increasing by 4 a turn, or increased by 4 last turn. And this is our ratio of HCV, which is like your positive, versus our Decadence, which is your negative. 2.3, and you can see that somewhere at 10, 8, 7, 4, 4, we're at 2. So this is where the game difficulty ramps up, that we should be not focusing as much on the army. We should be trying to invest in our cities. Won't really get a chance to show that off, obviously, if the stream's coming to a close now, but we'll try to, I can save the game, we can try to load this one up later and get more into the details there. Oh, I like the garum shop. Although, maybe we need to start doing culture. Yeah, we'll do culture, because we already see that this is potentially a problem. But that's going to conclude the stream for now. Self, what is the challenge of this? Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing to say, because it seems like we're doing pretty well. And Rome probably should do well, but this is the challenge that Rome is supposed to face, is mostly internal. Not true. I mean, we're going to face, I think in the full game, you'll have big militaries to deal with, like Carthage and all that. But anyways, thanks for everyone showing up. Sorry to cut it off so quickly, but maybe I'll be streaming later. Probably not. But if not, feel free to jump on the Discord. We'll be doing some multiplayer games tonight. I think the Historical Gamer might be getting involved in Wolfpack tonight, which is kind of fun. We trained him on it last night or 2 nights ago, so we'll see if we can suck him into maybe a Wolfpack stream or something like that. But again, thanks for coming out. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, what little you saw, of Field of Glory Empires here. It is the AGEOD types thing, but you can't, the best thing I can say about this is that the interface doesn't feel like AGEOD at all. It feels like a smooth game that's easy to understand. Obviously, there's some complexity, which makes it, in my opinion, better than Rome Total War, but it has a lot of the feeling of that game. So until the next stream or video, or whenever I catch you next, whether it's here on the YouTube channel or on the Discord, thanks for watching, and take care.